Welcome back to Tutoring 56. This is attempt number 2. Since I forgot that I wasn't on my tablet and I was on my laptop instead, so I was trying to do things that wouldn't do. I have 2 games for you today. They're going to be in 2 different videos so that I can give each one of the games the time it deserves and the attention it deserves without worrying about if I'm making this too long a video. So you can look at one, see if you like it. If you don't like it, go try the other one. But this way I can give it more attention. The first game I'm going to have examine and show you how to play is using an inevitable hundredths chart. These are fantastic. That's why they're on kindergarten walls. That's why they're on primary 1, 2, 3 walls. They have everything from 1 to 100. It helps the students see patterning, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I get students to color every second 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 so they can see that pattern of going up by 2s. Color in every even number. You'd be surprised how many students don't know there's a difference between even and odds, and when you get to high school, it's really even grade 7 and 8, being able to start factoring and understanding if it's even. If it ends in 2, 4, 6, or 8, I can divide it by 2. You know, have them color in 5, 10s, 15, 20s. Now, mine I print off. Just found one on the internet, copied it, saved it, and when I use it with my students in the evening, I just print off 5 or 6. It's in my bag to go. And when we're playing any of these games I'm going to show you right now in this video, we just use 2 markers. Why? Because little Janie or little Johnny may not finish the game before I have to go, and I can tuck it in their folder and bring it up and we can finish the game tomorrow. If you're at home, then what I suggest is either using one you've printed off, try and make it fit the page as much as possible, and then just use good old counters to cover up the spots. Okay? Or make a bigger one, nice activity if your child's being homeschooled, have them create the hundredths chart on half a piece of Bristol board, and they're using rulers. It's really good for fine motor control, dexterity, nice printing, have some practice, all those things, and they're creating a game that they have a connection with. So when I was teaching primaries 3, 4, well, primary junior, a lot of times I would have the students create the games because it gave them ownership. And in a class of 30 kids, when they've had to make it, they're a little more careful with it than if Mrs. A's done it, because there's that personal touch to it. Okay, so I'm just going to flip my camera around and then I'm going to show you how we play this game. Okay, so here we're back. I've rearranged my camera so we can see the game board and we can see it laid out nicely. Now, this is one of these games when I need to be using my 10-sided dice. Now, I've said before, if you don't have 10-sided dice, that doesn't put the game out of your reach at all. You just get good old-fashioned index cards. I usually cut them about 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters so they're not too big. Put them in a bowl, jumble them up. Student pulls out 2 cards, and those are the numbers he uses. Or it's just the same as dice. You've just used index cards. So, like I've said before, if you're in an area of the world where getting things, there isn't a convenient gaming store, there isn't a convenient way of getting stuff in, then this would work just as well. You're just using cards. You can use paper. I tend to use index cards because they're a little heavier. Any Bristol board, if you've gotten boxes in from packaging, you can use the side of the cardboard. It's endless ideas how you can get the numbers. So what we're going to do is there's 3 ways or 3 directions I can use this hundredths game, hundredths board, and the dice. The first one is if you have students, say in grade 1, where they're just learning to get used to the numbers, or they can be kindergarten. If you've got somebody who's really into math or whatever age, below about JK, which is 4, they're little people. Unless they have a really big interest in math, let them be little people. As much as, yes, I have a couple of degrees and education is wonderful and fantastic, never ever have I lost sight or tried really hard to never lose sight that these are little people and they've got so much on their plate that they need to be focusing on, like physically just growing and learning how to treat other people. So yes, do these games, have fun with them, but don't push it too hard. This is a really good one if you happen to be a classroom teacher because you can get the kids working on it in pairs or even groups of 3. I wouldn't go much more than groups of 3. And they can play it together. And in the meantime, you as a classroom teacher can be walking around and seeing how people are doing it and reinforce those social skills. So let's just start with those students that you're just working on the numbers. Okay, so I rolled the dice and I have a 4 and I have a 1. Okay, now I'm using this as the pretense that I'm at home or I have counters. So now the student can choose, is he going to use those digits as a 4 and a 1, or is he going to use those digits as a 1 and a 4? Okay, so I'm going to decide I'm going to use a 4 and a 1. Then the next student comes along and he gets a 1 and a 0. Perfect for me. So he can go, I am going to use that as a 10, or I'm going to put the 0 up front and say that's going to be a 1. Now in this game, obviously, the 0 is going to represent a 0. So I either have 0, in this case I have 0 in the tens column and 1 in the ones column. Or I have 1 in the tens column, which is literally a group of 10, and I have 0 in the ones column. So I have 1 in the tens, 1 in the 0. And we just keep going. And we keep rolling the dice. And the idea of the game to win is that you are literally going to get 5 in a row. So here we go. We've rolled it. The next person comes along and he rolls it. And I'm going to very intentionally here, folks, roll a 4. And I'm going to roll a 5. And the person is going to go, oh, I can block you. So the player who's red didn't get his 5 in a row. In large classroom groups, this really is helping students to learn that it's okay to not lose. It's okay to hit a problem. And that we're here just to have fun. Okay. The other point it does is help develop problem-solving skills. So yeah, little Johnny doesn't want to lose, but he has to think about what can he do to stop the other person. So he may have had 54, and that may have got him going 54. He may have had 55, 56, 57, and putting it in the 54 would have been really good for him because now he has 4 in a row, but it wouldn't have blocked his friend. So there's one way. Classroom-wise, guys, you as a teacher are going to have to be walking around and watching for overly zealous and very competitive young people, because they do get very competitive with any of these games. And I have had it in classes where I just won't play games like this because I have had students who are so competitive they lose it if they don't win. So that's going to be a year I don't play the highly competitive games because I don't need it, right? And I want to keep my class quiet and conducive and supportive, and having students who are going to yell and scream isn't going to work. Okay, so now that's one way. That's for the students who are learning numbers. Now the next one is, let's just take that 5 and the 4. We can use this for addition. I'm still trying to get 5 in a row here, but 5 plus 4 is 9. Okay, other person plays, and maybe he gets a 3 and a 4, so he gets 7. Okay, if you're using just addition, obviously the most we're going to get is up to 19. Or because we can use the zeros on this. If you're going to do addition, you can use the zeros as a 10. So we could get up to 20, but then it would stop because you're only doing the addition. We can do the same thing for subtraction, but understand when you're doing subtraction or addition, we're literally only using the top couple of rows because I can't use those digits to get a number that's up there. My next one is literally multiplication. Same idea, but now I can get to farther up where I get 5 times 9 in this case, and I'm going to end up with a 45. Where's my 45? It's right there. When I'm doing multiplication, just like when I'm doing addition, the 0 can be a 0 or it can be a 10. And that's the way I can get that it's up to 100. 3 different ways to use your hundreds chart. 3 different fun ways. Helps a little problem solving, so you want to block the other guy. Something like Connect 4, only we have 5 in a row in this one. It helps students practice their facts in a fun way. Cannot repeat enough. Memorizing facts is not good enough, but you do need to learn them. You need to understand what you're doing. Right, so there was 3 ways we can do this. We can do it where we're looking at the digits in order and going, that's a 59 or a 95. You're going to put your coin there. I'm going to go down here for 95. This is a case I can get up to 99, but I can't get 100 because when I'm doing digits, remember, the 0 is literally just a 0. Where's my lovely 0? Okay. 5 in a row. Simple as that. And this is a case where they can have 50 or they can have a 5. That's your choice. So that's one of them. The next one was you're going to add them. 5 plus 0 is 5. You can subtract them and say, let me change that number. 5 minus 4 is 1. You can do this where it's just straight numbers like 54, 45, etc. You can do it where the student in question can combine them. They can add them together, they can subtract them, or they can use the digits. So they may find, well, if you've combined those 3 and they're really working with the digits, that it might be to their advantage to go 5 minus 4 is 1, and that might help them get 4 or 5 in a row. Or they may this time go, oh no, I want that to be, I don't want to add or subtract, I want to bring that down here and be the number 45. 3 different ways. Not a problem. Multiplication, same thing. If they want, they can do the multiplying, or they can use the digits to create a new number. Or if you've got somebody who is really good and you want to throw them a slight curveball, tell them to can use those digits any way they want. They can use them as digits at 45, 54. They can add them together, they can subtract them, or they can multiply them together. It depends on what you as the teacher, as the adult, is trying to reinforce and encourage. Are you trying to strengthen those addition facts, the subtraction facts, multiplication, or you're just trying to have fun to reinforce all of it and have the students do some problem solving and thinking, because they are really problem solving if they're getting to use the digits together as a number of 45, 54, or multiplying, addition, or subtraction, because now they have to think, I've got the whole board, how can they do that? If that's the case, this is one of those times they get to use that 0 whichever way they want. They can use it as, I'm going to say it's a 10, or I'm going to use it as a 0. So if you're obviously, if you're going to use it for the number, you're using it as a 0. Okay, let me just flip my camera around so you can see my gorgeous little face again. There we go, we're back, so you're seeing me. So that was one of the videos. Another one's coming on using a now extinct game. So look forward to that next video. So just a refresher of what we've done. We've simply used the good old-fashioned hundreds chart and had some fun with it. So let me just remind you on, I'm going to bring it a little closer so you can see it. Okay, just a good old-fashioned hundreds chart. If you're a homeschooler, get the kids to make the chart for you. The kids like to do that. They like to come in and help the teachers. Sometimes we have to say no because we've got 28 little kids or big kids, it can be time consuming. But if you're working at home with just 1 or 2, get them to make that hundreds chart. Get them to fill in all the numbers. And maybe every one of your students, like if you've got 3 children at home, maybe every one of them wants to make their own hundreds chart, and they can decorate it the way they want. If you're doing that because you're going to reuse it and use counters, you might want to make it bigger than this. I'm not going to say you might, you are going to want to make bigger, okay? Because usually what you're going to use are dimes or bingo chips or something like that. For my evening school students, I print off 10 or 20 of these because they color them in, because like I said at the beginning of the video, they may not finish the game tonight, so they have to. Okay, use your hundreds chart for patterning, 2, 4, 6, 8, have them color in every second one, whatever. And then you're using your 10-sided dice or the cards. If you don't have 10-sided dice, 10, 2 sets of cards with the 1 to 0 digits on them, and you're rolling them and using them just to find numbers. Put the 5 and the 4 together to get 54, or the 4 and the 5 to get 45. That's up to you. The students can be adding them together. They can be subtracting or multiplying. Division won't work because you're going to end up with decimals. If you want to really push the division, you might just have to make it, it really wouldn't work, because very few digit to digits is going to come up with an even, like a whole number, and we need the whole numbers for the card. Hundreds table. So there you go. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and then just numbers, place value. So there you go. Have a good day and enjoy this fall, and you'll see me in video number 2.